Hello again. We're in week two, um, and this video is about factors that most distinctly define my voice. Um, I think that my experience is the thing that most drives my voice. Just being in multiple situations, especially in the military and in ministry, um, living in foreign countries, um, being on a ship in the middle of the ocean for a year, um, being at war, all of these things, having children especially, greatly factor into, who I am and what my voice is. And I use that a lot in my preaching as well. I think it's best to draw from experience because there's a lot of people out there who may have similar experiences, or even the same experiences, and just don't know that somebody else is going through that same thing or has gone through that same thing, or you may have gone through something even more difficult or worse, um, and to be able to draw from that and give experience and testimony of how God brought you through that difficult time and brought you out, how you made certain decisions and why you made those decisions or how God factored in to those decisions, or the fact that maybe you kind of left God out of the decision and it went haywire. So drawing from your own experience, and for me drawing from my own experiences, which have again been very numerous and kind of wild. My testimony of meeting my wife and how we got married and how that whole thing is nothing but God, um, greatly influences my voice. Just to share a little bit, we met in the military overseas, in Guam. Um, we initially met. She actually went to church with my boss. I didn't know that at the time, but I talked to my boss about it, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, she's great. You should talk to her." So I did, and she said, "Okay, well, if you want to go on a date, you can go to church with me." I had never been to church before in my life, but she uh, was extremely good looking. So I agreed to go to church, and then I enjoyed it and kept coming back. Um, Continued to date my wife. We dated for all of 4 months. Got engaged, and a month later got married. So that moved very quickly. Um, and again, I mean, and there's a 10.5 year age difference. Um, my wife grew up in a big city. I grew up in a small town. My wife is black. I'm white. I mean, just everything as opposite as could be, nearly. Um, but within 4 months, we fell in love and got married. And we've been married for 24 years. So that's definitely not in the courtship handbook, but it's experience that I can draw from and that drives my voice, that with God anything is possible. Um, and another thing that's kind of unique to me. I've always been fairly independent. Um, Again, growing up in a small town, there's not a lot to do, so a lot of uh, teenagers, kind of they drink and use drugs and party, and that's kind of almost all there is to do. Um, and was never really into that, not because I went to church or because my parents discouraged it. It never appealed to me. Um, so while every friend that I had and I've grown up with, since we were, newborns, um, was busy partying and stuff, I had no problem just saying, no, that's not for me. And kind of did my own thing. Sports was always more important to me. Um, so I never felt the need to fit in or try to be somebody I'm not. And with the reading, that's kind of something that a lot of people fall into, um, is trying to copy your mentor or some other celebrity type preacher like TD Jakes or Joel Osteen or somebody. You're trying to copy and use somebody else's style, um, and be something you're not. And it typically, it was saying that it takes up to 5 years for people to find their own voice. And for me, that just really wasn't my experience. Just because again, I've always felt comfortable having my own voice. But those are those are the things that define my voice, that are distinctive to me. Um, and that's what I kind of got out of it. Thank you.